Hi, everyone. This is Hal Krosman with Screenwriting U, and today we are going to be exploring intriguing character relationships. Now, this is one of those things where if you become great at putting together character relationships, it doesn't just mean you have better characters. It means you have a better chance that one actor is going to get on the phone and call their friends and say, hey, I want to do this movie, but I want to do it with you. And let's explore this cool relationship together. Uh, if you think there's so many movies where I've heard that kind of thing has happened, but one of the ones was what was it called? Being John Malkovich. Uh, I interviewed a couple of the people involved in Being John Malkovich, and basically what they said was uh, John Malkovich looked at the script and went, I'm not going to do it unless John Cusack agrees. And so he called John Cusack. And then John Cusack called another actor. And next thing you know, they had a whole bunch of them together that were doing that movie because they loved the relationships. So that's the kind of thing that's possible with this. Now, let's jump into it. This is the big question you want to ask today. And actually, I'm going to give you two questions. This one, what can we do that will elevate your ability to be an amazing character writer? Here's the second question. So I want you to be thinking about that one. But the second question is, what did you, when you watched this scene, and my hope is that you watched it just recently, when you watched this scene, what did you see there? Right? And I want you to compare what you saw there right now to what we end up with as we go through this meeting together. So, because if you can see more, if what you saw, you now can double that amount, that means you're in a different place as a writer. So that's a big part of what we're trying to do all the time, right? We're trying to look inside and outside and say, how can I become a better writer? How can I see things I couldn't see before? How can I create things I couldn't create before? And once you get into that path and you're doing that consistently, your life as a writer will change. Let me say the opposite of that, just so it's clear. I know people who have written 3 scripts, and from script 3 to script 15, they didn't improve more than 10% as a writer. And it's because they got inside a box, they felt comfortable, and they kept writing inside that box. So I want you to just today, just go, all right, I'm looking for what didn't I see? I'm looking for everything that I might have missed, because doing that is what will get you to the place you want to go. I promise you. So here's what we're going to do today. First, we'll do a quick analysis of the Batman Joker interrogation scene. Then we'll look at intriguing relationships and how those show up in this particular scene. Also, we'll talk about creating great characters so that you can take a look at your own character creation process and see how much more you could improve it. And again, please never look at improvement as meaning something bad about who you were the minute before. This is, you need to look at improvement as something exciting, right? It's part of the creative journey. It's part of what makes you amazing. So just relish it, enjoy it, have fun with it. And finally, we'll talk about the upcoming class, which is on character mastery, where essentially we're going to be analyzing and going through 20 characters like what we're going to do here, but you will get a much, much deeper part of that process. It will change who you are because you are looking way past what you already know. So let's jump into it. Here's the interrogation scene. You remember these two guys? So the scene structure. It starts with the Joker being questioned by the police commissioner, right? And it turns out Harvey Dent never made it home. What has he done with him? Then the police commissioner takes the handcuffs off which is quite a surprise to him. And it turns out Batman's behind him. But he doesn't find that out until Batman slams his head onto the table. Now, at that point, Batman is enraged, right? He's interrogating. He's going after the Joker. He's basically just attacking. He's going to torture it out of him. Joker starts explaining his reality, which we will get to here in just a little bit. And then the Joker says that they're the same. And this, in my opinion, is one of the key moments in this story. They're the same. They're both freaks. Batman, Batman supporters will turn on him. What this does, this is pretty interesting because up until this point, I never thought of Batman as a freak. But when Joker said that, it's like he's coming from insight. He knows what it's like to be that person, and he knows Batman is one of him. The second part was, I realized at that moment, it's like, yeah, how many people do I know who put on a bat costume? How many people do you know who put on a bat costume other than Halloween? Right? It's like this stuff that they're talking about, they are freaks. They are different. And this, I thought this was a profound insight. It was very interesting. At that point, Batman's had enough. He gets violent, taunting the Joker, doing everything he can to try to force him. The Joker finally gives in, presenting the dilemma, right? Can Batman, he can only save one of the two. Which one is he going to save? And this now takes us to our arc. Our arc, from the very beginning, all they're trying to find out is, where is Harvey Dent? By the end, they know where both of them are, but one of them is about to die, right? So that's our arc. Now, there's also an arc in the relationship with them, and there's some other things like that, but that's the scene arc, basically. Okay, so now that we've gone through that, and we know what it is, let's now look at this from a couple of different perspectives. This first one, this is an ironic scene. And just ask yourself, did you look at that? Did you think about that? Did you look at the scene and go, oh, this is an ironic scene, right? Because again, if not, this is a chance to have some breakthroughs. The Joker's in jail, but he's in control. That's irony, right? One is the opposite of the other. The interrogation, actually, it gets violent, but it goes exactly how the Joker wants it to go. And most people looking at this scene would say, yeah, wow, the Joker was tortured pretty badly. That's not something that an inmate would want to have. Batman is completely dominating the Joker, but it's Batman that's the one who's afraid and desperate. The Joker actually isn't, right? The Joker's the bad guy, but he's the only one who truly understands Batman. So take a look at this. If we took these four forms of irony out, how much would that scene lose? Right? Because this is a big part of what made this scene great. You take these four forms of irony out, and basically what you have is you just have a torture scene, and finally the guy gives it up in the end, and Batman runs to save the day, and it's so what? And that's just a thought. And it doesn't mean you have to put irony in every scene. That's not true. This is what was appropriate for this scene. This was what made this scene amazing. Now, there's some other things too. Let's go over here to intrigue. So the intrigue. The Joker has planned this from the beginning, right? And we kind of discover that along the way. But if he's planned it from the beginning, why did he put himself in jail? Why did he set this whole thing up? Why is he allowing, Batman to torture him to get this information? What exactly is going on here? And this is part of it right here. The clock is ticking down on two people's lives. The longer they mess around in there, the less likely Batman is going to be able to solve this, right? At the same time, this is pushing Batman to the brink. So you have to ask yourself, what game is the Joker playing? And this is the Joker, right? This is in character. He's completely doing what his character is about. It's just, notice if you saw the Batman from 20 some odd years before this one, in that one, the Joker was doing bad things and then saying these kind of clown kind of jokes. This one isn't anything like that. And the reason this one isn't anything like that is because of how they wrote this character. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of people who say, it was all about Heath Ledger. And I got to tell you, I think that guy was an incredible actor. I think the world lost something when he passed away. It was so sad because anybody who has this level of talent, it's like, oh my God, wouldn't it have been nice to see him in 15 or 20 other movies where he did the same kind of thing? But part of this is that he had amazing talent, but the other part is how it was written. Don't take away from this writing for a second. This was incredible writing. He had stuff to play with and to work with that was beyond anything we'd ever seen in a Batman movie before, or really in many of the the Marvel movies and the DC movies at that time. This actually made some changes in how they started writing these movies. So again, it's worth exploring. Now, the Joker, I want to look at the two characters. The Joker is the trickster. He is, and this is part of his profile right here. He is unpredictable and a psychopath. Those two, it's not good to have those two together. He speaks with a profoundly twisted logic. And I think that's part of what made his dialogue so amazing was, the writers on this really embraced that and they went for it. He loves messing with people's heads. That's always been there. He sizes up their character quickly. He understands things about Batman and the other characters he's, playing with. He understands things about them that they don't understand about themselves. And he loves putting people into emotional dilemmas, as we see at the end of this scene, right? So a couple of other things about him. He answers questions with tricks. And again, this is just part of it, who he is. They ask, where's Harvey? And he says, what's the time? Because depending upon the time, he may be in one spot or several. He has intrigue built into pretty much everything he's doing. This whole thing being locked up and interrogated is actually part of his plan. That's thinking at a different level, and that's creating intrigue at a different level. He has a connection. He really does seem to connect with these people just kind of on a bizarre level. But he expresses Batman's true nature. It's the first time I've ever heard it expressed. So, I think that was profound. And his life is about disruption. He is the disruptor, beyond almost any other character I've seen. In this case, he casts doubt on everything that makes sense in Batman's life. Batman thinks he's doing it for a certain reason. Turns out that's not true. He thinks that these people love him, and it turns out they're going to turn against him. He thinks that him and Joker are exactly the opposite, and it turns out really they're the same in many, many ways. So let's go over here to Batman. He's the savior. And he's on a mission to save Gotham, to save Rachel, to save Harvey Dent, which is, kind of him. That's great. But he's also exasperated. He has run out of options. He has no idea what he's doing. He's enraged. So he's actually acting like a criminal here while interrogating the criminal. He's being violent for a good reason. So there's a little irony there. Violence for a good reason. And his identity, it turns out, he was just labeled, he's a freak, just like the Joker. Wow. So now let's look at their relationship, because this is the other part. What's their relationship? You can have two characters who say cool things, but if they don't have a relationship and they're interacting with each other, it's like, it's just like having two kids read lines. That's not what you want. So let's take a look at this. First, definition of a relationship: the way in which two or more people are connected and regard or behave towards each other. So this is the dictionary definition. We've got these two people right here. They are connected, right? They're connected by this mystery that's happening right now. They're connected because they're the only two in the room. They have certain regard for each other. Batman absolutely thinks that Joker is the worst piece of shit ever. And Joker thinks they're the same, right? And how they behave towards each other. They're having a relationship. They're actually having a physical relationship. It just turns out not to be so, comfortable. But this guy seems to be pretty comfortable with it, which is interesting. The purpose of their intriguing relationship: they're locked into a competitive relationship where if one wins, it causes the other to lose. Now, this kind of relationship, by the way, happens all the time. There are people who are married who have a competitive relationship. There are people who, go out and play golf together who have a competitive relationship. It just happens all the time. But these two have an interesting competitive relationship, and they really are against each other. I wonder what would happen if Batman would have said, "Yeah, Joker, you're right, though, about who I am." They have a conflict going on here. And I'm sure you saw this. It's like really clear. Batman is torturing Joker to get information, but Joker is torturing Batman with this emotional dilemma, right? He knows Batman is in horrible pain over this. And he actually set it up, and he used the emotional dilemma to bait him into this room. So let's see what else. Conflicting agendas. Batman is there to dominate the Joker, right, into confessing. The Joker is there to manipulate Batman into making a terrible mistake, right? Though maybe the biggest mistake of Batman's lifetime. And then this is part of their relationship. There's disruption going on. And actually, really, it's kind of both sides. Batman, there's physical disruption, as you can see here. Batman is trying to physically disrupt the Joker's world, right? But the Joker is casting doubt on everything that makes sense in Batman's life, right? All the things that Batman believes in, right? All the reasons he's doing what he's doing. The Joker is, calling it all into question, and it has an impact on the Batman. And then there are needs. Both of them need something from the other. And that's pretty interesting. You set up a situation where two people need something from each other but hate each other. How's that going to go? Uh, so Batman needs the Joker's info to save the day. Joker needs Batman in order to play his tricks. This is the game Joker wants to play. There's a whole bunch of things that he gets out of it, and we're going to see those over time. But there's a couple more things. And again, I hope you've already started to see things that you go, oh, wow, you're right. Not because that means anything about me. I've actually been through the program that we're going to talk about today. So I've had a chance to really look at this stuff. But there's things going on here that are deeper than just the words, than just the actions, than just the characters, right? And that is what will make the biggest difference in your life as a writer. So these two also are they have a common enemy. They're both being attacked from outside. The establishment has turned against Batman, and of course, it never liked Joker. And then there's the irony, again, that we showed earlier. One is the one who's doing the torturing is out of control. The one who is locked up and being tortured is in control of everything, which I think is absolutely amazing. And then finally, the insight, they're the same. They're both freaks, right? Now, look back over what we just talked about. Hopefully at this point you saw some things that you hadn't noticed before. If you did, take that in, use it, feel great about it, right? This is one of the things that keeps writers from becoming successful is often they think if they see something new, it makes them wrong. And that's an irony, right? It's like, if they see something that could make them a better writer, that means they weren't a good writer, all that kind of stuff. Don't buy into that old, third grade level of thinking. Your job as a writer is to continually look for deep, 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 deep insights and breakthroughs. I interviewed at least, oh, hey, I'm sorry. It looks like I've got something else to say here. Maybe not. Okay, there we are. I interviewed at least 100 or so A-list screenwriters, and I'm going to tell you that they think on a different level than most people. They have spent years and years and years writing and reading and working with producers and those kinds of things, looking deeper, 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 trying to find the breakthroughs. That's what got them there. So this is part of your job. Part of your job, if you want to be a truly, truly great writer, is you've got to be able to find the breakthroughs that other people don't see. And these aren't little things, right? It's like if you just take this scene, if we take that one part that I said, the irony, right? If we just took out the irony, this scene has 1/2 the impact and nobody would be talking about it. Think about it. Think about how many times you go see an action movie, and at the end of the action movie, there were 5 major action sequences, and the next day you don't remember them. Right? And that's because there wasn't a lot of depth built into them. Sometimes there are, right? But there's a lot of times where it's just, okay, it's time for an action scene and they're making it visually appealing, but they're not building this kind of stuff in. And because of that, you forget it. So if you want to be a great writer, I'm going to tell you the thing to do is to think beneath the surface, and then beneath that surface, and then beneath that surface. I had the producer of What Dreams May Come. You guys maybe remember that movie it was one of Robin Williams' movies. His wife died and she went to hell, and so he descended into hell to rescue her. And he said he and the writer sat there day after day saying, okay, here's the draft that I've got. Now, what's beneath that? And then they discovered something beneath that. And then the producer said they both looked at each other and they went, there's something more. What is it? What's beneath that? Right? There's tremendous depth if you look for it. So, creating great characters, right? This is about creativity. It's about design and expression, right? But to accomplish that, you've got to look deep. And this again, it's like almost all the contest scripts that I see, even some of the finalists haven't done this. They've looked 1 or 2 levels deep, but they didn't go beyond that. They had 1 or 2 insights about the character and they went, that's good enough. If you want to be a pro, you've got to look deep. You've got to analyze great character moments. You need to be able to discover breakthroughs that elevate the current writing. And those breakthroughs might elevate how the character is written, who the character is, what's going on in the scene, how these character relationships impact each other, how you chose to write the scene to set up the deep breakthroughs. But I'm telling you, if you don't have this, this is why writing is good but not great. And in my opinion, a person can spend, like when you first are learning to write, almost every book you read about screenwriting has some kind of amazing thing. It's like, oh my God, I can add that to my toolbox. But once you get to the level of being truly good, there's not much out there that takes you to great. And this is the problem. This is the real problem, because what takes you to great are the breakthroughs after you know everything. And if you're relatively new to writing right now, then you need to build this into your process. This is the one thing that I see missing from 99% of screenwriters out there. They don't know how to create breakthroughs for themselves as a writer. So, and I'm not talking down to anybody. This is, if you guys know me, you know that I build expert models. I come from that world. I did it for corporations. I worked with 100 corporations creating expert models because we had a breakthrough process and we could find what was beneath the surface that would make people significantly better at what they did. And that's what this is all about. So let me walk you through this program, but here's the 3 things you need to know. Question is, what made this moment great, by the way? And the answer is the writing. There's serious depth in the writing, but that comes from, again, breakthroughs. Somebody had serious breakthroughs to write this. And the truth is you can write characters and scenes like this. You just need to be able to have a process for looking beneath the surface. So stay with me here. Let me tell you about this class that's coming up that is specifically designed to cause you to be able to build breakthroughs into your creative process. This is like no other class. We have one other class that's like this, which is the Scene Mastery class, but there's no other class out there in the world like this. We started from the very beginning. I had my development team and I said, here's what we're working on. We're working on how can writers intentionally create breakthroughs having to do with characters. And we built a process. It took us about 6 months to figure it out, but we built a process that will change your life as a writer. So the objective of this class is to write irresistible characters that actors, directors, audiences absolutely love. And the key here, again, is that comes from deep insights, right? It comes from the breakthroughs and that kind of thing. So in this program, you'll be analyzing great characters every day. Essentially, you'll be doing what you just saw me do. But we're going to first give you great characters in situations where you can analyze them and discover serious breakthroughs. you're going to work with those characters from 20 different perspectives. My experience is most writers work with characters from about 6 to 8 perspectives. You're going to see them from 20 different perspectives. This is one of the things that can cause breakthroughs. You're also then going to be learning a process for having regular insights and breakthroughs. A lot of times people think those two things are the same thing. They're not. However, once you learn this, you'll be able to intentionally create breakthroughs. You'll be able to take any scene and any character and look at it and say, okay, let me do this quick process and discover something beneath that surface that is going to make that character 5 times as good. And that's absolutely possible. And then you'll build those insights. You'll go back to your current script and you'll build those into your current script. So the purpose here isn't just to have you be able to say, oh, I know how to do this. It's to have you then apply it immediately to your current script and to find new levels of depth that take every scene, every character you write to a whole different level. Now, it's an incredible program. It's a month long. It's Monday through Friday, every single week for a month. You will love this. You will have fun all the way through. Every day, Monday through Friday, you'll be watching a new scene that has 2 incredible characters in it. You'll go through the analysis process and you will search for the breakthroughs using our breakthrough process. By the time we're done with 20 days of doing this over a 30-day period, you will have built that process into how you create. That means you'll be creating at a different level than 95% of writers. That gives you a real chance. So here's the link. Let me just show it to you here. It's bit.ly. Write this down real fast. bit.ly, bit.ly/character mastery. All one word, no capitals. You just put that into your browser, click return. It'll give you a special. Here's the special for the first 20 people. The normal price is $199. The special for the first 20 on this is $129, which saves you $70 on this amazing class. You are going to love what this class does for your writing, what it does for your creative process, what it does for your level of insight. But just as much, you're going to love what this class does for how people respond to you inside this industry. So if what you're trying to do is to become a truly great writer, this class will make a significant difference and move you along that spectrum all the way up to a much, much higher quality writer. And you never know, it might give you the exact thing you need to turn your current script into something that people will talk about from now on. So if that's appealing to you, if that's important to you, come join us. The class begins on February 19th. That's 2 Mondays from now. And at that point, every day you'll just simply watch a scene, analyze it, go through the process, the breakthrough process, discover more depth than you had seen before. And doing that all the way through will change your life. You will learn things about characters you'd never thought of. You will see things you hadn't seen before, and you will become a significantly better character writer. So I hope you're there. Again, if you want the special, just take this link, write it down, plug it into your browser where you normally put a web address. It's just bit.ly, bit.ly/character mastery. So it was good talking with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had fun with it. And I hope you learned something that it can move your current characters forward. So this is Hal Krosman with Screenwriting U. Absolutely wishing you the best. Bye-bye, everyone.